Hello, welcome. We are going to go over today what counts for ECBC employment outcomes. And I would like to introduce ourselves. I'd like us to introduce ourselves. I am Lindsay Horowitz, a post-secondary transition specialist with Minnesota Department of Education, and I'm here today with my colleague, Alyssa Klein.
Hi, everybody. This is Alyssa Klein, Transition and Pre-Employment Transition Specialist from Vocational Rehabilitation Services.
Here's our agenda of what we're going to go over today. We want to provide a background of what ECBC is, an overview of data that we will be tracking, and lastly, frequently asked questions. So when we're going through the data and through the background pieces, really just wanting to go through what we've counted in the past. And in the past, we've really only counted for students who have DCD, and we want to open that up. So just to share, ECBC, again, Employment Capacity Building Cohort, began out of the Minnesota Olmstead Plan in 2014 with a focus on increasing competitive integrated employment outcomes for students ages 19 through 21 who had a primary disability of developmental cognitive disabilities. So why? Students with DCD historically have been tracked into segregated employment settings. We are now expanding who is counted, although we still want to track the same population. So we are saying we track by all disability category areas, and then we're also saying by age, so increasing that age 18 through 21.
So let's get into an overview of the data we will be tracking. So what I want to say before anything is that we will be expanding the data that we're looking at, but it really is not going to be a lot more work for you. A lot of it is the same work you've already been doing. We're just going to be counting more, which is awesome. So you're getting more credit for all the work that's happening in terms of employment for students. So number one, we are looking at the number of students of all the students ages 18 through 21 who are in 18 to 21 transition programming who have been employed during the current year. So this is students that had a job during the school year, whether or not they gained it during the school year or a prior school year. So again, as the bullets show here, we're looking at all disability categories in this one. And we're asking you to add up those who were employed this school year and obtained that employment prior to this school year. So that part's new. We're going to add those students that have jobs that got them prior to the school year, plus those who were employed this school year that obtained that employment this school year. So that will give you your total number of all the students in 18 to 21 transition programming in your school and your community team that were employed this year. And then 1A is, of this number, how many students have a primary disability of DCD? So we still want to be tracking those DCD students because we still have that goal of seeing students who are typically tracked into segregated settings to make sure that they are also entering into competitive integrated employment. So then we're looking at, so you've already got this number in the first one. So of that total number, how many obtained new employment this school year? So we were typically, this is what we were tracking every year, is just the students that obtain new employment. And so we still want to be looking at the new employment. So we're not just, students get jobs and we're just helping students maintain jobs. We want to make sure more and more students are getting jobs, right? So all the students that obtain new employment this school year versus obtaining the employment prior to the school year. And then of this number, how many students have a primary disability of DCD? And then lastly, again, because we want students to get jobs, but we also want them to keep them. So we want to be tracking how long students maintain employment so that each team will have an annual team average of job retention, and then we'll have a full statewide number as well. So to help you wrap your head around this, we're going to just look at how we'll get this data from your student tracker. which is in your team workbook. So this is what your student tracker tab looked like up till now. So again, we just had you tracking the goal for all students age 18 to 21 and then tracking your progress. So we're going to change that and we'll show you that on the next slide. We also had this link in here where we were asking teams to enter their goal and their progress, but frankly, hardly any teams did it. So we're just taking it out to make it easier, make it less confusing. So that's just going away. So now we've gone into SharePoint, we've updated all of your workbooks. So this is how your student tracker tab looks now. So we have those 4 data points that we mentioned. Number 1, all students age 18 to 21 who are employed during the school year. Of this number, how many have the primary disability of DCD? Number 2, how many obtain new employment? So it's really a subset of number 1 as well. But then of that number, how many students have a primary disability DCD? So in this column, you put your annual goal as a team and then your progress to date. Lindsay and I will be going into these student trackers, so we won't have to ask you in our big meetings or whatnot. As long as you're keeping it up to date in here, we'll just collect the data from your student tracker tab. And then lastly, that third data point about student job retention, we're just going to also extrapolate it on your behalf. So as long as you're putting the start date for every student and the job that they have, if they end up having an end date, which of course we don't necessarily want to see, although sometimes it's appropriate, but you put their end date here. But if they don't have an end date, just the start date.
Next, we're going to get into frequently asked questions that you might be thinking of as we have gone through the previous slides. Question number 1, which students should our team be tracking? Students, we want you to track students must have a disability between the ages of 18 through 21 and be in 18 through 21 transition programming. So we don't want to track our students who are in their typical senior year. Question number 2, what is the definition of employment for ECBC? Employment must be competitive integrated employment as defined by Minnesota's Employment First policy. So full-time, part-time, or self-employment with and without supports in the competitive labor force, on the payroll of a competitive business or industry, and earning at least minimum wage, but not less than the customary wage and level of benefits paid by the employer for the same or similar work performed by workers without a disability. So no sub-minimum wage.
So question number 3, can VRS work experiences count as employment for ECBC purposes? ECBC employment outcomes can include what VRS calls intermediate jobs or pre-ETS work experiences where a student's wages are paid by an employer. So again, aligning with the Employment First CIE definition. So ECBC employment outcomes cannot include short-term work experiences where VRS is reimbursing a provider or employer for the student's wages. So for those of you not in VRS, consult with your VRS partners if you have questions about this. And of course, VRS staff, you can come to me anytime if you have questions about this. Question number 4, how long does a student need to hold a job for it to count as an ECBC employment outcome? So a student must have held a CIE, competitive integrated employment job, for at least 1 shift in order for you to report it as an ECBC outcome. So obviously, we also want to see students maintain employment. So again, that is why we're now tracking retention or the length of time each student keeps their job.
Question 5, do we only track employment that was obtained this school year? No, we will now track the number of students who obtained employment this school year, as well as those who obtained employment prior to this school year and are still maintaining that employment. So noting that teams can only count one outcome per student each school year. So that fiscal school year, July 1 through June 30th. So for example, if a student obtains employment during this school year and maintains employment for one shift or more, then loses or quits the job, but then obtains a new job during this school year and maintains it for one shift or more, the team can only count that student once. However, since we are now also tracking the length of job retention, the new job will positively add to that data item for your team. And so how to track the students on the student tracker. You can enter the student twice. The start and end dates will track each job and the per job retention rate.
Okay. Question number 6. Can we count an employment outcome if the student got the job without our team support? And the answer is yay, yes, you can. You can count an employment outcome even if the student obtained and or maintained the job without support from the school, VRS, or the county. So you may have other questions. So certainly reach out to Lindsay or myself. We're happy to help you. We thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation today. Bye.
Bye, thank you.